Just to let you know, your company project is due this week. You'll see the submission link this week, week 12. You'll be able to submit it this week. So try to finish up this week. Uh, the submission link will continue to be up for the remainder of the following week. So you have time to submit after as well. So the submission links are always open till the entire semester. After this week, you then will begin working on your presentation. The presentation is due the 15th, the week 15th. So is due the last week. The presentation is you making a Zoom video or a YouTube video of yourself presenting your work. And you're also uploading a PowerPoint presentation. Your PowerPoint presentation, if you don't know what PowerPoint is, it's a Microsoft program that you can use to make presentations. It's fairly easy, self-explanatory to use. Every computer lab, every computer on campus has PowerPoint access. If for some reason you can't work on campus, don't want to work on campus, you can actually access, you can use Google Docs, not Google Docs, Google Slides. It's pretty much the exact same thing as PowerPoint, except it's free. You just need a Gmail account. You those 9 little dots in the corner. You click on, it brings out. You can search all these other Google applications. You can use Google Docs, which is like Word. You can use Google Slides. Google Slides lets you do the same thing as Microsoft PowerPoint, except it's free. And you can then save your slides or your presentation as a PowerPoint presentation. So you don't really need to use Microsoft PowerPoint if you don't want to. You can use the Google Slides. So you can do that at home. You don't have to be on campus. For your video presentation, I just pinned the company presentation instructions to the top of the announcement so you can watch the video. I go over with you. You can make a Zoom video, record yourself just like I'm recording this. Zoom is free. You jump into a room, you record yourself presenting. When you end the recording, it'll save the file to it. So you should have a folder, a Zoom folder on your computer. It'll save the file to the Zoom folder. Then you can upload that folder directly to Brightspace as an assignment to your one of your assignment folder. You can uh, you can give me the file directly, the video file directly on Brightspace when you submit your assignment on the week 15. This is the presentation we're talking about. Or you can upload it on YouTube, which is what I do with my. So this is going to get uploaded on YouTube. I just drag it on YouTube, you click create, drag the video, it uploads it, saves it. You can just post a link, however you want to do it. So I go over the presentation instructions, different options. At the very least, you need to provide a PowerPoint presentation. That's the bare minimum of what you need to present. But for full credit, you could do both. This was a group assignment. It's supposed to be a group assignment. We're not in an actual classroom. It's a hybrid class. Some of the students don't even live in the US. Some of the students aren't even in our same time zone. There's about 7 students here right now, eight participants, so 7 in total participants. And so you're asking if you use Canva. Personally, for the presentation, as long as I can look at it, sure. But for the video, I don't care. But for the presentation, it's supposed to be the rubric rules are supposed to be in PowerPoint presentation. So try to stick to the requirements of the presentation. But anyway, there's a total of 7 participants here, ignoring myself. If I were to take the 25 students in the classroom and divvy up into groups, you'd have a lot of dead groups. So I just have every student do their own assignment. And then making a presentation, coming in on the same day, making a presentation. I usually get 3 or 4 students who are not from this country. They're international students, so they wouldn't be able to make a presentation. So I just do this, make your virtual presentation, prepare your virtual presentation. The instructions say it's a group project. We're not doing a group project. Watch the video I post. I give you instructions on that. So also today is a discussion board 6. If you haven't completed your discussion boards or need to catch up in discussion boards, please do. The bulk of your course grades is the presentations, your discussion boards, and your connect assignments. And then your midterm and finalers is almost 50% of your grade. So your final exam is also due the week 15. So it's open now, but it's due week 15, the 21st, before the 21st of December. The final is not a culmination of all your chapters. It's just the second half of the semester. So after you took the midterm, the second half is the final. So you don't have to restudy everything from the beginning. Everything after week 8, that's all you need to know. So moving on to our lecture. So this lecture is a derivative of what we went over last time, which was marketing. And this is going over product development, packaging, pricing, product life cycle, things of that sort. So value is subjective. All right, what's value? So value, as far as the definition is concerned, for examination purposes, good quality at a fair price. Your textbook has a specific definition. That's what you should know. According to the American Marketing Association, value is a foundation of marketing. But if you look at value practically, when you look at advertisements, value is always marketed as low cost. So you see a premium product and you'll see value, right? They don't say it's called cheap. They don't use the word low cost. They'll say value. It's that relationship between price and quality, right? You're getting a certain price and you're getting enough quality to match the price. It's called value. That's how it's been marketed and presented. I told my last class that everything nowadays is cheap and junky compared to how it used to be maybe 50, 60 years ago. And that's the case, right? So what's value today, it would have been garbage yesterday. The quality of things have dropped so significantly because of inflation. The cost of a product to manufacture and produce a product is exponentially higher than it was decades ago. But your salaries have not really increased tremendously to offset the cost of inflation. Inflation being the increase in cost of expenses of things that you buy on an annual basis. Everything gets more and more expensive every year. That's not to say that salaries depend. Salaries have changed. Some people's salaries have increased because of their job profession, their careers. Some jobs went away and ceased to exist. Some careers got downsized, and a lot of tech stuff has boomed. So it seems kind of relative, right? What I might be getting paid now as a professor, an adjunct lecturer, is more than it was 7, 8 years ago. But comparatively, I should really say let's go before 7 years, 8 years ago. Let's say 15 years ago. The adjunct lecturer salary or pay rate was very low. It's been that way for a long time. Then it recently increased because of the union bartering to increase the salaries because the salaries are way below the livable wage, and they haven't kept up with inflation. So now you see an increase that sort of matches that. Some jobs, the increases in salary over the last couple of decades doesn't really match the increase in cost of goods and services. So companies know this, right? It's not like they don't know. So if they charge you something and it's too expensive, you can't afford it, you don't buy it. So what they do is they do something called shrinkflation. They reduce the quality of the product. They reduce the quality of the product to offset the increase in costs. So you're getting a burger for however much, and the cost of burger meat, bread, wheat, fixins, whatever it is, has been increasing every year. But if everything's 40% to 45% more expensive over the last 4 years, but your salary's only gone up 6 to 9%, how do you afford it? You don't, unless you're upper middle class, or in some sort of elevated financial situation, you start to cut back and scale back in your expenses. So what happens is, quite simply, companies scale back. Because if their consumer is the working class person, the average person, they can't afford it. So you'll see the product sizes shrink, the product qualities start to shrink, things start to get qualitatively worse, or you get value, right? It's value, good quality at a fair price. So value and price, they're not related, right? It's economically driven. It's a marketing word. It's perception. It's your perception on what is or isn't valuable, right? If you go back 30 years, 40 years ago, not that long ago, actually, it's not that far off. But you go back 40 years ago, I told my last class, I said, if you look at a Slim Jim, look, I'm talking about the beef jerky. I don't know if you kids now have these weird lingos for nasty things. I'm not talking about weird things. I'm talking about beef jerky, okay? Slim Jims, the ingredients on a Slim Jim today is very simple. It says like beef, water, spices, herbs. That's it. Okay. That's not what's in a Slim Jim. If you look at a Slim Jim ingredients 40 years ago, it said cow lips, cow heart, beef lips, beef heart. It described the product all these weird chemicals and things. It described it very in depth what was in it. You don't see that anymore, right? So the products you're buying have chemicals and weird things in them. They put weird stuff in your food now. Cheap stuff. They downscale your food tremendously to reduce costs, to reduce manufacturing prices on agricultural prices. And then the FDA changes the requirements of what your food's being mislabeled. They change the requirements of the labeling of your food, so you don't know what's really in it. And they do that on purpose because corporations lobbied and also had their people, their ex C executives, directors, heads of departments at these major food conglomerates work for the FDA so they can get into the FDA and then corrupt the FDA from within, changing policies and lobbying policies so that companies can then create value, good quality at a fair price, by changing the laws so you're ignorant to the degrading, the devaluing, and the poisoning of your products and foods and services, even your furniture, so that they can make it cheaper because you can afford it now, because of inflation and economic conditions you're completely oblivious about. So they can continue to make profits while they focus their financial objectives overseas to growing markets like India and China, where they have true booming middle classes developing. So value from a definition standpoint is marketing words, which you should know. But the true nature of value is economics, right? It's price sensitivity. It's your inability to afford what you should have been able to afford 30 years ago. But now your salary doesn't allow you, and they know you can't afford it, so they make a downgraded version of it. If you look at a candy bar back in the 60s, they're huge, gigantic candy bars, real chocolate, real chocolate, real ingredients. You don't see that now. Same company. And that's been shrinkflation. They've been shrinking the quality and the size of their products over the years to offset the cost so consumers can still afford it because their salaries have not increased. The furniture you buy, or your parents buy, or whoever college kids buy it to, IKEA, Wayfair, is cheap. It's affordable, right? Falls apart in a year or two, maybe a couple of months, is garbage. They use chemicals and stuff to manufacture it. Your furniture is leaching volatile organic chemicals. That's cancer causing, formaldehyde, your paint on your walls, all these things. The food coloring in your Gatorade gives you ADHD. All right. This is what it is. It's cheaper cost because it's cheaper than using natural dyes from vegetables and fruits because those are too expensive. Although those natural dyes actually help heal the body and improve bodily function because they're from fruits and vegetables. Chemical dyes that come from which are just byproduct. It's manufacturing byproduct that gets recycled back into other things that you shouldn't really be consuming it, but it gets consumed to create value. This is the word value. Okay, so understand there's no value. Okay, it's marketing, it's cost, it's whatever. So if you wanted good stuff, like really good quality stuff, it's outrageously expensive. Real furniture, like the way furniture is supposed to, you're supposed to buy a piece of furniture, should last you like 20, 30 years. You could pass it down to your kids. That's the way furniture is supposed to be. It's not like that anymore. They want you to keep buying crap that breaks down and it's garbage. There's so many chemicals and things and just in the development process of manufacturing the fake leather that is treated with chemicals and it leaches VOCs into your home and it's cancer causing. But it's okay because everything's safe, right? But that's value because it's cheaper, it's more affordable. But stuff built 50 years ago wasn't like that. It isn't like we're more technologically advanced. Why is stuff getting junkier and crappier? There's a reason. It's the economics of our situation. It's complicated economic circumstances I can explain another time. So be mindful, right? If you actually bought legit furniture, it's expensive. Thousands of dollars for a piece of furniture. You got to take out a loan to furnish your house with good furniture. Some people do that, you know. If you can afford to buy a home in New York, you can't. The average person can't, not without assistance from family, unless you're just that guy or gal that has that income. And some people do. So the circumstances are as they are. Okay. So whenever I see the word value, whenever I buy something, I see the word value, I stay away from it. Okay. If I look at the back of the ingredients, I look at what it is, I stay away from it. It's just, sometimes you don't have a choice. Right. When I was coming out of college and had my own place, it's what it is. But as you become more secure and stable in your yourself and your abilities and your income, stay away from value unless you like breathing in cancer and eating it. So, distributed product development, handing off various parts of your innovative process often to companies overseas. So, product development is the process of developing product. This one's referring to outsourcing across multiple organizations and cultural and geographic boundaries. Developing a total product offer is everything that consumers evaluate, deciding whether to buy something, products that are evaluated, so on and so forth. Look, it's hard to make an educated. See, companies know that what you do and don't know determines what decisions you can or can't make. So the less educated you are as a consumer, the easier it is to miseducate you or guide or direct a direction of your research such that they can influence your decision making, right? So if you see your favorite influencer wearing makeup that you think looks really pretty and you think that might look really nice on me, and you decide to buy it, you might not have any idea that the ingredients in that makeup could be hormone disrupting, endocrine disrupting ingredients. You have no idea. By the way, they are. All right. If you've purchased something from somewhere that's been marketed by your favorite influencer, it's probably very toxic for your body and skin, and the FDA approves it. But you'd be surprised that product might not be approved in Europe or other countries because a lot of the chemicals in it and substances are considered cancerous or unsafe for your health. So when you develop a total product offer, marketers are aware of what influences your decisions. They're aware of what you do and don't know. And in many cases, corporations have worked very hard to limit, reduce, or shape the knowledge of what you do and don't know when you're making making a educated purchase. That's why literally the ingredients in the back of your food, they hide what's in it. You really don't know everything that's in your food. You have no idea everything. They limit, and then they hide what it is. So like all of the any Doritos or Cheetos, they all have MSG in it. You don't even know that, but they don't label it MSG. It's mislabeled because it's allowed to be mislabeled. So everything that consumers evaluate when deciding whether to buy something is not that it's irrelevant. That's a business fact. But how do you make your evaluation, guys, if you don't know what you know? Right? And this is why some people start falling into misinformation. This is also why people start falling into they become skeptical, but this is also why they become I'm looking for the right word, conspiracy theories. And this is where people start listening to conspiracy theories and accepting them because they understand there's a lot of distrust governmentally and things of that sort, but they don't have the educational background or research awareness to enlighten themselves or the critical thinking skills to figure out the truth of something. College actually, believe it or not, gives you those skills through the research if you do the work, right? So if you do the project where you're learning about how to research a company, I mean, some of you probably, have the intuitive nature to do that. Some of you may not, but it's prepping you to understand how to gather data, analyze information, because you could watch a video and the whole thing could be fake. It could be an AI picture. It could be a deep fake video. How do you know to make sense of the reality that's coming your way 20 years from now, 10 years from now? You need to do research, right? So you have to be holding yourself to a higher standard. This whole system is it's not in our favor. You guys have to understand that. So the marketing, the total product offer, the consumer, they look at your psychographics, they look at your emotional quotient, they look at your the way you think, the way you analyze, they look at all that. Okay. So this is the potential components of a total product offer: price, brand, package, convenience, things of that sort. Product line, you're familiar with product lines. Companies might have multiple different products. Product mix, Procter and Gamble, for example, may have different types of products that are serve different purposes, right? Product differentiation differentiates products between other types. Why is Toyota different than Ford? Even within their own product mix, why is a Jeep Cherokee different than Jeep Renegade, right? So different product classes: convenience goods and services, shopping goods and services. They give examples here. Specialty goods like fine watches, unsought goods like insurance. No one wants life insurance. No one wants homeowners insurance, but you need it, right? Because if your house burns down, you die, your family's screwed. So you need those things, right? Burial services. No one's looking forward to get buried, but so those are considered unsought services. Industrial goods pertains to business goods. Um, Packaging, all right? So this is, I'll focus on here the key functions of packaging: attract the buyer's attention, protect the good inside, be easy to open and use, describe and give information about the context, explain the product's benefit, give warranty information, warning, given inflation of price, value, and uses. I would also say differentiate, which maybe falls under one of these categories here, but differentiate value differentiation. So you're differentiating your product or service from others because it's on a shelf, probably next to 15 other products and services. It's very similar. Sometimes you need to have a sense of differentiation. And the other thing is value proposition, which is not listed here. You have to be able to describe your value proposition, or it should be accessible or obtainable from visualization or the packaging. It could be written on the back of a story or something. That's important. So we know what brands are. We know what trademarks are. Trademark is, the McDonald's arches. A brand, brands are like Gap, Old Navy, Banana Republic. It's the example. Same company, different brands, right? So brand categories is manufacturers brands, private labels, generic goods, knockoff brands. This is understanding the brand equity, the value associated with the brand, the loyalty that customers have with it, and then the awareness of knowing that the brand exists. So new product development, right? New product development is important because we're always developing. Technology is probably the one exception to my discussion. Is technology has been booming and changing and advancing significantly in comparison to the devaluing and shrinkflation of other things in our lives. They're not relative to it. But you'll see that technology is built not to last. It's built to sort of phase out, break down, and force you to buy new ones. That's just the inherent nature of it. So the new product development cycle follows these the six, where is it? Six stages: idea generation, product screening, product analysis, development, testing, and commercialization. There's a lot of research that's involved in these product life cycles. Here's an example, a visual example showing you how the product life cycle of certain things kind of peak and ebb down, which is why companies need to innovate, create new products, create new services, because of the nature of the stagnation of product life cycle. You'll see that the product life cycle in introduction, growth, maturity, and decline, which is sort of that wave you saw in the chart, is matched to the marketing mix. product, price, place, promotion. Those are all very sort of categorical to marketing, right? And they sort of describe the sales, what the profits look, what the competitors look during that process, right? So during the decline or when your product's been on the market for a long time, more competitors jump in because they copy you, right? So that's sort of why you see that cycle. So that means, someone else's product cycle could be going down and you could be jumping in, copycatting it at a cheaper price, and you're in a different phase. So that's important to understand. So competitive pricing, there's different types of pricing, cost-based pricing, demand-based pricing. You do want to know these definitions. The break even is where your profit margin, where you've covered enough of the expenses of, so you're selling burgers, right? There's a cost for your bun, your meat, your bread, your cheese, your condiments, the chef, the utilities, the overhead, the lights. How many burgers do you need to sell before you pay for all that, right? So at some point, you break even and you make enough money to cover all that overhead and costs, and then everything else after that becomes profit. And it's the breakdown between total fixed costs and variable costs. Here's the equation. You should understand the concept of what that is. These are different pricing strategies, everyday low pricing, high low pricing, so on and so forth. But I just want to touch base on this little chart here goes over the different strategies during the product life cycle. But class, I just want to remind you, we don't have class next week because of Thanksgiving. So I won't see you next week, but I'll see you the week after. I'm going to end class. And have a good day, have a good night, and I'll see you 2 weeks out.
Excuse me, Professor.
Yes.
I have just one more question because you said the project is due this week. Which day specifically?
Any day.